whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show, live on YouTube, Monday through Friday, starting at noon. I really appreciate you all. Yes, if you follow me on Facebook, as you should. Had quite the morning. Took a shower. Hair's dripping wet. And the power goes out. Because of course it does. Of course the power goes out. It eventually went back on, but I was like sitting in my husband's truck, charging my phone, prepping the show. But I'm here. And it looks like the outage was just a very short hiccup. So happy Friday. We have a fun show coming up. I, despite the power going out, still drug my ass to a new restaurant. It is local. It's not a chain. They used to have one in Cupertino, the guy was telling me, but they don't anymore because of COVID. So they didn't survive. So this is the only location. It's in San Jose. Not too far from my house. I was able to make it there and back. Literally, I left the place around 11:40, just to tell you how much I'm cutting it close today. But I have food in here. It was a top request. I don't normally eat this type of food. It smells delicious. And so I'm making a little video that I'll put up on my socials, kind of promoting and showing at least my process and the restaurant in and of itself. But we'll get to that in about a half hour or so when Kim McAllister is here, because I like to do the Friday food segment with Kim McAllister as well, because I love Fridays and I love this segment. Please click the thumbs up button, as we like to do to start this show. It helps us out. We also want to say thank you to our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com is the person to call for your tax needs. And please, when you call, mention the Nikki Medoro Show. Mention the fact that you heard about it here, because I'll let Steve know that this whole thing is working. And tell your friends to use Steve Moskowitz if they're bitching about tax problems or they don't know what they're going to do with their small or medium-sized business. Please give them Steve's number and website. And again, tell them to say the Nikki Medoro Show sent you, because that's the way this whole sponsorship thing works. On that note, in probably the coming week or weeks, I'm going to be giving more details about other sponsorship opportunities, such as someone sponsoring our Friday food segment or food segments in general. I do have a couple of emails to some people, and I will be getting back to you shortly. We just kind of had to work out the logistics, on our business side. But there are going to be sponsorship opportunities. So you guys have my email address, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. It's the same if you want to send us PayPal donations. But yes, more sponsorship opportunities, whether it's an ongoing thing, a daily, a monthly, maybe a segment or two. We are going to start working on that to bring some more money into the show. Also, please consider donating to our Patreon. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com is the website for the show. You could find links to the show and also a link to our Patreon, and you can donate any amount that you want to. It helps us out so much. And we're already getting super chats, and I love you guys so much. So super chats, if you guys don't know, I know all of you guys do know, but like Luce and there's a $sign under the chat, and you can go there and you can donate any amount you want to, a super sticker, a super chat. You know what? Because you guys have started us off so early, I'm going to start giving out some shout outs right now. Andreas, get gyro from Nick the Greek. It's closest to you. I like the pork. Try the tzatziki sauce on the side. It's yogurt garlic. Okay. Should I say that I got Greek food? Because Andreas, you are not the only one that mentioned it. There is Greek food in here, but I did not go to Nick the Greek. And there's a reason why I didn't go to Nick the Greek. And I'll share that when we do the Friday food segment. Okay. But there is Greek food in here. It smells friggin' delicious. I don't even want to wait. I really don't. But thank you, Andreas, for the $10 donation. Kathleen, $10 as well, and a super sticker. Mwah. Thank you so much. Jay Siller, you're having tacos on this Friday. $2 donation. I appreciate every amount. Luce, again, $10. I appreciate you and Kim so much. Thank you. Happy weekend. Another $10 donation from Andreas. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Walter, I love you. I know that you're a donor that comes through here and through Patreon. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. Beth Farmer with a $20 super sticker. Beth, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Murphy with a $10 and a happy Friday. I appreciate you guys so very much. Joe Fong with another $10 super sticker. Yes, indeed. And yeah, JR, the power's back on. Thank God. You know, it's just, I love that we just roll with the punches here. And it's a Friday. Nothing's going to get us down at all. But yes, if you want to donate to the super chat, we'll read your comments on the air. You can donate any amount, super chat, super sticker, super thanks, and just look for the $sign in the chat. Joe's ordering Indian food today. Ooh, I think that might be next on my list. So yeah. So let's do this. All right. Oh, but one more came in just now, and I'm going to give a shout out since I'm doing shout outs right now. Karen, aloha from the big island of Hawaii. Karen, I am going to be in your neck of the woods for the 4th of July. The week of the 4th of July, my brother and I are taking our kids. This is the first vacation I've just taken with my brother and our kids ever. So I'm very, very excited about that. So we'll be doing that for the 4th of July. And I'm really hoping that, that one, it's a good trip because we've never done it before, but obviously that it's in Hawaii. I don't think I could actually have a bad time in Hawaii. Right, Karen? All right. Okay. So coming up in just a moment, I want to tackle this California bill that would ban tackle football in the state of California. It's by State Assemblyman Kevin McCarthy. No, not that other Kevin McCarthy, this Kevin McCarthy. And I want to get into it because, when we talk about tackle football, when we talk about sports in general, it kind of brings out people from both sides. There was a guy by the name of Chris Wallace. He helps build national champion resumes. He was the one that was kind of spreading kind of criticism about this bill. He's putting me in touch with some people to talk to next week about this. So we'll continue this conversation, but I want to kind of get your guys' take leading up to that next week on whether or not there should be an age limit for tackle football, or, if teaching tackle younger and the right way of doing it when they're first learning is the smart way. So we'll touch on that in just a moment. There is an experimental male birth control pill, and it's 100% effective in mice. But it's a start. So when we get to that, I want to ask you men out there, would you take it? Would you take a pill every day? And I'm telling you, my God, I'll describe how and when you have to take this pill. And I'm telling you, you men have it so freaking easy. Some crazy stories about a guy that lost his life in this really, I'm not making light of any deaths, but crazy way. Also, did you hear about this crazy house party in Texas? Bunch of teens stormed this mansion. There's a twist to the story that blows my mind. Again, we'll get into Friday food segments. We'll talk a little more about AI and a fast food chain and whether or not it's really working for the customers. There is a science behind the songs that make us happy. So let me know in the chat when we get to this, especially what song makes you happy, because there is kind of a, like I mentioned, science to it all. But I kind of feel like the songs that make me happy have a meaning behind it. It's not just the beat. And then in the second part of the show, we'll get into those bombshell revelations from that Fox News defamation trial with Dominion voting systems. Craziness. And my question to you is, do you think Bret Baier, who was on Fox News, is going to go the way of Chris Wallace and it's just looking around the room, I mean, I don't want to hang out with these nutcase liars because they're liars and they've been caught lying and they knew it was a bunch of BS and they fed people it anyway. I like to kind of bring in some of the people from The View, especially because they have Alyssa Farah Griffith on there. And because she was one of the press secretaries for former President Donald Trump, has since moved to The View. And I'm going to play you her take and lawyer Sunny Hostin's take on this lawsuit. And the points that they both make are very, very interesting. And they're just devouring themselves, these Republicans. Carrie Lake is turning on DeSantis. It's amazing to see. Speaking of Chris Wallace, who did leave Fox News for CNN, he went at it with the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security chief, Mayorkas. So I'll have that because there's a lot of interesting points that are made on both sides, and it's worth the listen. And then, of course, it's Friday, so we're going to bring in Tim Sika and talk about movies. So a lot of things to watch. His connection wasn't very good last Friday, and so we may have time to get into some of the reviews that we weren't able to get to on Friday. So that's all coming up on this amazing show. But let's first talk about tackle football. Let me know in the chat, how many of you played tackle football? How many of you? I didn't. My nephew does. Any of you play tackle football? Any of your kids, grandkids play tackle football? How about if they are 12 and under? Do any of your kids 12 and under play tackle football? Because there is a bill by California State Assemblyman Kevin McCarthy to ban tackle football. I'm going to play you this report, ABC 7, that kind of gets into it a little bit. And then you guys tell me in the comments, what do you think about having an age limit on just starting tackle football? So, Pee-wee football, no tackle, 12 and under, no tackle. Here's this report, and a big thanks to ABC.
For thousands of kids across California, tackle football is once again on the chopping block. A Sacramento area assemblyman introduced a new bill this week. If passed, any child under the age of 12 would be banned from participating in the sport.
My opinion is, of course, I don't agree with it.
Chewy Orr is the head coach of the Oakland Dynamite's youth football club. He says for many of the kids in his program, the game teaches valuable life lessons and is more than just a sport.
Especially for us in the inner city, this is like a tool we use to keep kids and parents active and busy.
Several years ago, the state passed stricter regulations around youth tackle football. They created requirements around the amount of time hard contact is allowed and forced coaches to obtain certain health-related certifications. Coach Chewy says while he understands people's concerns, he thinks the sport has come a long way in ensuring safety.
We can only make contact an hour per week. We also supplemented contact with using bags.
But not everyone agrees, and some, like Dr. Brian Feely with UCSF, say tackle football is still an unsafe sport, especially for young children.
Concussion for a younger kid is much more detrimental for their long-term brain health than it is when you're an adult.
Statistics from the CDC show that youth tackle football athletes between the ages of 6 and 14 sustained 15 times more head impacts than those who played flag football. They also had a median of 378 head impacts per athlete during the season. And Dr. Feely believes, despite the improvements, current equipment is not good enough yet.
It doesn't prevent a concussion. A helmet doesn't lower your risk of a concussion if you have a more fancy helmet.
If the new bill becomes law, Coach Chewy worries about the implications it could have for the 300 kids in his program. Young people, he says, rely on it for role models and opportunities they otherwise probably wouldn't have.
A lot of kids and parents depend on this outlet, each year. So it'll be tough.
So again, thank you to ABC 7 for that report. Okay, let's welcome Kim McAllister in. And Kim, the bill by California State Assemblyman Kevin McCarthy would ban tackle football for kids 12 and younger. What do you think about having some sort of age limit? Or do you think teaching, younger kids how to play properly and tackle properly and those sorts of things can make it safer as they get older and play the sport? You're muted. Hold on. Let me unmute you.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Go ahead.
You can't put a game out there without massive warnings and something that's so much a part of our culture without really realizing that parents are just going to sign up for their kids and go, you know what, go for it. I know you can make the argument their kids are going to get hurt anyways. Kids are always ending up in the emergency room, banging their head, breaking their arm, whatever. Yes, I know that kids are accident prone. But you can't look at the information that was just given about how much worse it is for repeated head injuries for young kids and not say we don't need to do something about that, not try to protect people. So, I mean, I'm already of the mind that my large for his age and probably will be pretty good at it son for football is not going to play that game. But that's me. I understand that I may have a different perspective than someone else. But if you take tackle out of football for 12 and under, that's great.
Yeah,
You
that's
still
what
get
I
to play the
think.
game. They still get to learn about the game and the rules of the game without beating the holy hell out of each other. Perfect.
Absolutely. Vilma writes in, my grandson played tackle football from the age of 7. He got a scholarship to college, and after his first concussion, changed to engineering and gave up football.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That says a lot. My nephew, I've spoken many times about this. He plays. He just turned 15, but he's a bigger kid, taller. I think now he's playing somewhere on the offensive line. So definitely getting more contact. He's already had a number of concussions. My brother and my sister-in-law said a number. And that's something that they decided as a family. Here's another question. Do you think that this is where the government should step in, or should it be up to the parents of allowing if their child wants to play tackle football and they know the risks and the dangers, do we need a bill? Do we need the government to tell us whether or not our child should be allowed to play the game a certain way?
Well, here's why it might help to have the government involved. And usually I would say let people decide on their own. But in this particular instance, I think that knowing what we know about the safety of these sports, organizations that welcome kids in and have parents pay a hefty fee and say it's safe and say, oh, we've got the fancy helmet, you're all good to go.
No.
And then it's shown later on that that's not true. I think all those organizations, including schools, should be held responsible for the damage that's done to kids. And so does it make sense for the government to get involved? Yes, because I think schools will be at the center of lawsuits down the line.
Yeah, and I also think it's a hard thing for the schools to decide and parents to decide. It kind of takes it out of their decision making, because Kim, when your kid wants to do something, even if you don't feel comfortable with them doing it, then it's easy to be like, sorry, you can't. That's the law, right? It's easier to say, sorry, you can't, because it's not allowed for kids your age, versus I know all of your friends are doing this, but I know the damage it can do. And then it's just mom or dad being a party pooper and stopping me from fulfilling my dream. And it's a tough conversation. Not saying a parent can't have it. You're obviously the parent and the buck stops with you. Randy writes in, I played in junior high school, and some college. My son played flag football up to high school and then played tackle in high school. Randy, how was that transition? Because the thing about tackle football, my son had one season doing it and then he gave it up because he doesn't really care for sports like that. They do teach you, how to play the game. You still learn about positions and things like that. Is it exactly the same? Of course not. But you could still have fun with it. And isn't that the point? I feel like parents who may want their kids to be in tackle football earlier have this dream that they're going to go, either to high school, college, and maybe pro. And so you have to tackle. If you don't tackle,
all parents think that, oh, my kid's going to be the one,
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Randy also said the baseball coach at my son's high school said that if he could, he'd have every boy play freshman football in high school. It's great for building relationships. I mean, I think team sports in general, and I will say this, not just team sports, being part of clubs, whether it's band or chess or art or something, like being part of a group, like the mathletes or I don't know. There's all big for non-sporty kids is what I mean. Like there's a way of getting that team building, that camaraderie, that acceptance without necessarily being part of what is not arguably what is a very high contact and violent sport. PT says in the end, the government will end up paying for the medical bills. Therefore, the government should prohibit tackle football at a young age. We played flag football, not tackle.
Here's a question for you, just for football in general, not only young kids, but all the way through the NFL. Now that we know the damage, do you think we should change the game?
To what, flag football?
or something less, violent inducing, something that would, hurt people less.
I think that there's no
Instead
way.
of sack the quarterback, touch the quarterback. Something else.
Well, that's not going to happen. I
Well,
mean, no one would play. Like, you'd just be like, tag. It's like tag.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. I guess I just, what's the point of having to slam people to the ground and smack into people so hard?
I'm reading this book. It's just like a trashy kind of novel, but there's a character in it. I just thought of it. There's a character in it that's in high school and plays football. And he's like, my mom keeps putting down all these CTE articles at breakfast, and my dad and me are just like, no. Yeah. But then he says, I've been starting to read them and fold them up and put them in my pocket instead of making a show of crumpling them up. Because when it's your brain,
right,
when you start realizing, like, am I forgetting things? Did that tackle, did that hit really do something? You only have one body. You only have one brain. Jacques says over 90% of former NFL players show signs of CTE brain disease. Football should be banned for adults as well.
And for what? For our entertainment.
Yes.
They hurt themselves for money.
And a lot of money.
Entertainment. Yeah.
Yes. And I hate to be so blunt and nonchalant when I say that, but yes. Mm-hmm. And that is why, look at the Super Bowl, Kim. Companies that were laying people off still found $7 million to advertise. Yep,
that's right.
You can't overnight at least change that. Now, can you make the game safer? I don't think so. And this is why I say that. I think that you can have the high-tech helmets and you can have the penalty flags, but when the game is on the line and there's a play that needs to be made, these men are going to put their bodies and brains 110% into it. They're not thinking, you know what, I'm going to pull back because if I make that hit as hard as I want to, I might get, brain damage. No, they're in the game. And that's why the game, no matter the rules or the helmet, it will always be violent. It will always be a violent game. And I don't think that there's any sort of rule changes that can really change that at all. So if they ban tackle football at some point, they're going to be bashing their heads in. Randy responds to Karen saying, my son played football in high school. He was coached well, and he was never injured. He was a skateboarder as well as a kid. Should I have not allowed him to skateboard? Well, there's some skateboarding can be very violent when you crash. Especially if you compete and like the half pipes and stuff, right, how high you're going. And when it goes wrong, you could say it about all sorts of things. Dirt bike riding, all these types of things where if you're moving at a high rate of speed and you're making huge jumps, you can fall. But with football, the reason why I think it's so singled out is it's every play you're bashing into. It's literally part of the game.
With skateboarding, if you hit your head, it's an accident, right?
Right.
In football, it's not an accident. If you get tackled, or if you get banged around, that's the game.
That's the game. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what they train you. That's what you practice doing. I was playing that ABC 7 segment with that guy that didn't like it, and he says, "Oh, we only have contact for an hour a day." Okay, but in that hour, what message are you sending to the kids? This is your hour to get contact. This is where you practice your tackles. You don't think they're going all out? Right. And then he's like, and we practice on bags. Okay, but when you're in the game, you're in it. Believe me, I have heard my brother and my nephew talk about it and they love it. And my nephew's been injured and he still loves it. There is something that's part of it. Chris says, I could tackle someone without severing their spinal cord. Well, I would hope so. David says, if you got rid of football, young males would find another outlet for their aggression. No, John Slade with the comparison. More people die driving cars doing everyday driving. So should we ban individual car ownership and use public transportation? I don't think that's not a fair comparison, though, John. It's just
I would again say one is an accident, one is intentional.
Yeah,
accident versus
you're making
intent.
A choice. Yeah, and not every time you go into your car, you're going to get into an accident. When you're playing football and you're certain positions, every time you're banging into somebody. That's repeatedly. How you play the game.
And that's how you get those long-term injuries like that.
Exactly. Over and over, bash, bash, bash. I mean, and you know what also kills me, Kim, is when you watch these professional football players and then when there's a great play, they start banging each other on the helmet. I'm like, if you just stop for a second. Flo says the appetite for pro and college football alone has reached the level of almost religious fervor. It will, I'm assuming, never go away. And I don't think there is any other way to make it safer. It is a brutal sport. Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, 12-year-olds, oh yeah, John with the Jesus Gets the Super Bowl about the ads. I mean, 12-year-olds don't need to bash their heads in. I think 12, then you're going to go to high school, and that's high school sports. I don't see anything wrong with really young kids. I think there was a statistic, at 12, their brain's only like 90% developed or something like that. And yeah, Nick, exactly. We're talking about 12 and younger over here. We're not talking about the NFL, even though, like Kim mentioned, maybe it is time to re-examine allowing people to play the sport.
And I get what Randy's saying, you know, that about nanny government and telling people what they can and can't do. But I feel like, and I'll make the point again, as someone else did, if schools are going to bear the brunt of lawsuits for allowing people to play and get injured, then they have to protect themselves. And they also have a duty to protect their citizenry, and that includes kids. And so, you know, it starts kind of at the top. And if we set something as unsafe, then that kind of, you know, takes society to a different level where we all realize, oh, what do you mean we can't play? Why? Oh, it is unsafe. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of parents out there who don't even think about it, who don't even think it's a big deal, who are more interested in the glory and they ignore all the other stuff. But if you put it in front of them and you say, listen, look at this, you know, and so I understand the whole nanny government thing, Randy. I really do. And I want to think that people would make the right choice on that. But I think if the government is going to bear the financial responsibility down the line, they have a say responsibility too there. So
absolutely. And, you know, California, someone had mentioned earlier, of course, it's in California. New York has also, New York Assemblyman Michael Benedetto has also introduced legislation ahead of Super Bowl Sunday to ban children under the age of 12 from playing tackle football. He wrote, football ought to follow the lead of soccer and hockey that have already respectively banned heading and body checks for kids under 10 and 13 years old.
Yeah.
He says those sports have recognized the inherent danger that is in the sports and they're trying to protect the kids. Football hasn't done that yet. And so when they don't do it, there is a responsibility of us in government to try to protect those kids. So that's, you know, kind of answering the whole, why should the government get involved? Because if not, then we're just damaging these kids' brains. And I like Tranquil's comment.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we can swap to VR football, less chance of injuries. You know, the video games and the technology heading where it is, I could totally see something like that happening.
Yeah.
But are you going to get a college scholarship for playing VR football? No. I highly doubt it.
But that's, you know, for everything we say negative about football, there's also a lot of positives too, right? Your physical activity and exercise and caring about your health and your well, most of the time, and your body, not long-term health, obviously, but, you know, going into the gym, working out, you get these young men who are, instead of, you know, partying and whatever, who are focusing on muscles and, you know, I don't know, keeping their grade point average up to make sure, and making friends on the team, and so all the social stuff. So on the one hand, there's good things about it, but I just don't think we're being careful enough with our kids.
Real quick, I want to share this story before we get to your news. So you guys know I've been having like computer issues, and I was on the phone with this woman from Xfinity, kind of setting up my appointment, and she was from Texas, and she was really fun to talk to. We were just chit-chatting because, you know, computer systems, and she's waiting for things. And so she's telling me her whole life story. I swear to God, this woman is telling me all about her kids. And she's telling me that she has all of these sons that play football. And because it was right after the Super Bowl, and we were talking about the ads, and we're talking about football. Yeah. And so she was saying how she has children. I'm not lying, like in her 20s and then like a 15-month-old. I mean, she has started all over again. But anyways, she was talking about how her sons had gotten college scholarships. And then once they got to college, They're like, no, I want to go the college route, the academic route, and I'm done playing football. And she's had 2 kids that were offered scholarships that decided to go the academic route. And so I guess they're having some sort of homecoming at the college. And she's like, I'm not going. She's like, I don't get football tickets. I don't get anything. And it was funny because I'm talking to her saying, look, your kids are probably really smart and realize that and don't want to bash their heads in.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, but I want to go to some games and get some free tickets. It was, and she was half kidding, but there's also this mentality of parents that really influence children. Right. And I left it with her. I mean, literally, we were on the phone for 20 minutes and she's just, I thought I was a talker, but she was cracking me up. And I left it with her and I said, hey, you're a great mom. Obviously, you have very smart kids that they're able to get not just a sports scholarship, but also an academic one. I'm like, leave their brains alone. I'm like, you're doing just fine. She's like, I know, but it's just something else. It's another pressure on these kids, even if they may have concerns about bashing their heads in. How are their parents going to feel about it? Right. So it's just something to keep in mind. And again, next week, I did reach out to this gentleman by the name of Chris Wallace. He actually helps, I think, with recruitment because he was spreading the word about this bill by McCarthy and he wasn't happy about it. But his profile says that he helps build national champion resumes. So he's putting me in touch with someone in the football world to hopefully get on Monday and Tuesday of next week. And we can kind of delve into this debate a little bit more with people on that side. And so hopefully that'll happen Monday or Tuesday of next week. Okay, coming up, there is a male birth control pill that is 100% effective in mice, but still in mice. I'm going to describe it. I'm going to tell you how nice they made this pill for men, of course, right? I mean, you have to love it. The pills that women have to take and the side effects versus what men get developed for them is rich. But you guys tell me, I'll describe it to you. And then you tell me, would you take it? Would you want your son or your nephew or the men in your life to take this birth control pill? And do you think men will remember? I mean, I used to be on the birth control pill back in the day. It's sometimes hard to remember, but is this the answer to put kind of the onus on men nowadays, especially with what's happened with Roe v. Wade and everything like that? But before we do that, after Kim's news, I have my food that I need to eat. I picked it up.
Oh, what is it?
I'm going to tell. Okay, so it is Greek food. So that was our big order. That was our big request. 2 people, Andreas and somebody else, had requested Greek food. I don't often eat Greek food. I think I've had it a handful of times in my life.
It's healthy and good.
Is it healthy? And I mean, I'm hoping it's good. So I went and
Mediterranean diet thing, right?
Very true. So I went and I wanted to find, Andrea said before you come on, Kim had mentioned Nick the Greek. And I'm going to explain when we come back why I did not go to Nick the Greek. And so that's coming up. I'll try it on air and I'll tell you if I like it or not. Again, we are also looking for sponsors for our segment. So if you want to possibly be a sponsor of our Friday Food segment, we have a bunch of segments that we're planning, the movie segment, or just a sponsor of the show. Again, reach out to me, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. It's the same for PayPal donations and what have you. And again, we always thank our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, who hopefully will be on with us, AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. But we are looking to bring in more of you that have reached out and wanting to be sponsors of the show. And we've worked it out with Steve. And so reach out to us and we'll make something happen. All right. Food is next. Birth control is next. But first, the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Food and birth control. I don't know if those things go together. This report.
They do. Okay.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Again, I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show. Let us begin with this horrible situation going on in Ohio. The air and water in East Palestine, Ohio, being called safe, according to Governor Mike DeWine. This after EPA testing at this site. People in the village have been complaining of illness. They've seen animals dying after a train derailment earlier this month resulted in the release of hazardous chemicals in their area. And now there's a push to get the federal government involved in the cleanup. 4 U.S. troops wounded in a helicopter incident that killed an ISIS leader in Syria today. U.S. Central Command says 3 of the troops and a working dog are now receiving treatment at a U.S. medical facility in Iraq. The 4th has been released from the hospital. Federal charges expected to be filed today against a man accused of shooting 2 different Jewish men outside of 2 different Los Angeles area synagogues. Horrible situation here. Both victims are expected to survive, though, so that's good. But investigators now believe the shootings were motivated out of hatred toward Jewish people. Expect more to pay more to buy a home, a car, increase of credit card balances as well. That's what we're looking at. This after a top Federal Reserve official said interest rate hikes for now are capped, but it's believed raising rates is still necessary to cool off the overheated economy, which many say will fuel inflation. So costs still keep rising. Actress Stella Stevens is dead at the age of 84. Stevens, known for her roles in The Poseidon Adventure and The Nutty Professor, her son confirming her death, saying she died after a battle with Alzheimer's. Stella Stevens, kind of a pinup model. She was a Playboy centerfold as well in lots of movies. Again, she has died at the age of 84. If you have kids, this might be something kind of fun. Or maybe even if you don't have kids and just love to game, Super Nintendo World, now open at Universal Studios Hollywood. The Mushroom Kingdom, made famous in Super Mario video games, now brought to life in the Los Angeles theme park, where visitors can race around in the Mario Kart and eat at the Toadstool Cafe. Super Nintendo World will also open at Universal Studios Florida in 2025. The Super Mario Brothers movie arrives in theaters April 7th. And I don't know if you heard about this, Nikki. There's all kinds of complaints about that Mario Kart ride at this new Mario World, because apparently they made it so that people that are overweight are having a harder time getting into and out of the ride.
Oh, well, that's always like the problem with some of these rides, right?
Apparently it's a waist size. Like if you have a waist that's more than 40 inches, you can't get in there.
Does it go upside down or something? I mean, sometimes I feel like these rides, the safety mechanisms are unnecessary. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to fall out, but I know they have to cover their butt. But can I just say this? I was watching the news this morning. No, I'm not calling BS, but please. So they're interviewing the guy at the Super Mario World down in Universal Studios, and he's giving this interview, and he's like, I've had 60-year-olds and 6-year-olds come in, and they've just dropped to their knees crying because they can't believe they're in it. I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever drop to my knees because I'm in Super Mario World. But then again, I mean, I played the original Nintendo Super Mario. It was cool and all, but dropping to my knees and crying, I think that's a bit of a stretch, man. Just a little bit.
Apparently there's a limit. There's an actual limit. So it's not that not weight, waistline.
And do they give that before you, like, you know what they should do? And I know this sounds cruel, but I mean, let's just end it. Like, let's do it right at the entrance. If you can walk through straight through these poles, you can get on the ride, and then there's no humiliation. If you have to turn your body at all, then you can't ride.
Yeah.
Does that mean? I mean, I don't want to be humiliated when everybody's watching me.
Apparently, the park is informing people, and I don't know if they have a sign up or what. If you have a waistline of 40 inches or more, you can't ride Mario Kart Bowers Challenge. They say it's a general guideline, not a new standard specific to Nintendo World. But yeah, so if you have a 40 inches or more, you're out. You can't.
Well, you know, sometimes people's waists are one size, and then the belly on top is another. Where does the safety mechanism fall is the question. Like, if it's falling on the belly, that's one. If it's coming up underneath the belly, that's another.
Have you seen people also, and here's a look at the actual ride. Have you seen people also that have maybe a big belly, but they're thin everywhere else?
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it could just be this gut. And so if you're like, if it goes over your head and down where it has to latch, I could see that being a problem. But if it's like a seatbelt across the waist and you can get it underneath your belly, then I don't see you know what I mean? I don't see the problem there.
That's the ride. So you can't get in there that
Oh, I
seat
see.
if you are more than 40 inches across, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's more of a, I would say it's more of a butt size thing then. I mean, don't
Yeah.
those
What
seats
if you
kind
have
of
a big
narrow?
butt but a smaller waist? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we come in all different shapes and sizes, people. You know what they should have? They should have, and I know I don't know if this is cruel or if anybody would want this. Why not just have sizes of different seats, like towards the back or towards the front or something like that? I mean, we know that people want to spend their money. They want to visit.
Yeah.
I would go to a place if I was larger, knowing that they could accommodate me or they had seats. Why not?
That's interesting. Wes writes, they opened the new Tron ride at Disneyland or Disney World in Orlando, and they have a seat outside to try it out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think there's one in Great America that has the seat out front too. It's oh gosh, what is it called? Is it the rail? The rail one, the new one, the orange one that's a solo car or solo seat one. And I think they have a seat out front that you could sit in.
Okay.
I don't know.
Karen says, how about saying 40 inches applies to any body part? That's right.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, including your big booty, right?
Yeah, David Odell says the lock bar won't lock if it can't push it down far enough. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if it comes down and you're trying to get, that belly, I could see how it could be a problem.
Should they have known? I mean, should they have tried harder when they were making that ride
to accommodate
everyone?
Yes, I completely agree. But I think it's also, and I don't know any engineering or roller coasters, engineers, but does that change kind of how you can make the roller coaster work and sort of like the streamlining of it? I don't know. I mean, but we're America. They should make things a little bit bigger, right?
And how do you make sure that kids that are littler are still secured and safe if you're making it also for bigger people? I don't know how that works.
I don't know how it works.
Flo says the Harry Potter ride is the same way. At the time, I couldn't fit onto it. Lost weight, but it's rather humiliating to have to get off of a ride. Several amusement park rides are not accommodating.
Yeah, it's happened
they
to
should
people
have a sign outside so that you don't have to be all embarrassed at the end. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, if they could just have poles or something where you could just walk through. The seat's a good idea, but then like sitting in it in front of everybody, but if there's just poles, like just walk through kind of thing, it's kind of like the height, right?
Yeah.
So you test yourself, and if you can make it through, then you can make it through, and if you can't, you can't.
More than the humiliation, though, to me, is the sadness probably of a kid whose parent can't fit on the ride, so they can't go on the ride if they're too young to go by themselves. So then what do? You have a crop of employees waiting there to say, I'll go with you.
Right. Oh, that's a tough one.
This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz is the one to call. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. You got 888 Tax Deal and MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. Well, I know we were talking about, food and everything, but I have it right here. So it is a Friday food segment, by the way, people. I love this segment. It's fastly become one of the more popular ones on the Nikki Medoro Show. So yesterday I asked you guys, what should I eat? And I had a number of votes for Greek food. And I don't commonly eat Greek food, even though, Kim, you made an excellent point about the Mediterranean diet, which is a diet that most doctors promote, right? I mean, because it has everything. I don't feel like if you follow the Mediterranean diet that you feel like you're missing out, because it includes carbs, protein, everything, right? But moderation, of course.
Right.
I did not go, though, to Nick the Greek for one reason and one reason only. I want to make these food segments more local. Nick the Greek, everybody knows Nick the Greek. Why the hell am I going to go and try out Nick the Greek for? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Everybody, you've heard of it. I had never heard of this place. Hold on. Did I bring the picture?
I actually haven't heard of Nick the Greek before.
You've never heard of Nick the Greek?
No. Is that a San Jose thing or is that?
Oh, no, it's like a huge chain. It's a chain.
Oh, okay.
It's a chain restaurant. I decided to go to El Greco. So there it is. El Greco Grill, authentic Greek food. Okay. It's near, hold on, let me actually get the address. I might as well give them props because why not? So they're on Winchester Boulevard in Campbell. In this really nondescript parking lot, there's like a 7-Eleven, donut place right next door. It's really, unless it's there. When I pulled into the parking lot, I thought they were closed. Okay. But did. I'm gonna put together my kind of TikTok video that I did because I've been trying to do, but I didn't have time because literally I got home 10 minutes before the show started. So I went inside and I went up to the guy was there, and it was a young guy. He was really accommodating. And I asked him, I said, do a lot of people come here to eat? And he's like, yeah, it's constantly busy. And I was like, okay, well, what do you recommend that I get? Because I don't often eat here. So I'm going to set up my video so that I could do this with you guys. Okay. Okay. So I went to El Greco Grill, and I got the pork gyro. And it comes with French fries. Hold on, let me take it down the picture. So it comes with French fries. So there it is.
Okay.
It looks really good. I have some, is it tzatziki sauce? Am I pronouncing tzatziki sauce? And it has French fries on it, which I've never heard of before.
All right.
All right. Are we ready? No, I just said, give it to me the way.
Wait, it has French fries in the gyro?
That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never had that like that. Is that a common thing, people? All right. So you guys tell me. You ready?
Like putting potato chips in your sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think so. So let's do this. Are you ready? Okay. Ready?
The question is, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. That's really good.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. El Greco Grill. Is that where that's where you went, right?
Yeah. I even clarified. I'm like, it's not El Greco because it's Greek. It's Greco. He's like, no, it's Greco.
They say they have the freshest quality ingredients. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're liking it.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. That's really good.
Would you go back for that, you think? Again?
Oh, hell yeah. This is really, really good. It's their prices are really reasonable. Again, I'll create a video, and I took pictures of all of the thing. They have some desserts as well, baklava. It's bomb. Yes, Luce, you've been there. Oh, I'm gonna keep eating.
John says French fries in a gyro is weird. Mindy says it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, oh, and Wes has given us a super sticker, so that's nice. Thank you, Wes. $3. We appreciate that. We need all the help we can get because we're have a little struggle going on. Also, Andrea says tzatziki. Tzatziki. I say tzatziki. We'll have to have.
Do you say the T or do you not say the T?
Tzatziki.
I thought it was tzatziki. I thought it was like zzz. I'm not Greek. I'm sorry. Tzatziki. I'm not trying to butcher it.
If we're saying it wrong, let us know, Andreas. We have to have you on the show one time.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do, JR. Live a sheltered life in Petaluma. Only locally sourced, sustainable, organic, cage-free, dolphin-free, minority, and family-owned are allowed.
Well, yes. And I'm going to say this. So the French fry thing. Yeah. So there was a bunch of people that came into the restaurant when I was there. And some guy came in to pick it up a gyro for his son because he said it's for my son. And when he got it, he's all, and there's French fries in it, right? And then the guy behind the counter was a bit confused. He's like, oh, you wanted the combo? He's like, no. He's like, you put the French fries in the gyro, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's how we normally do it.
Okay.
So,
it must be
I don't know.
common.
Is that weird or is that common? I have no idea. It is so good. Oh, so this is the website.
So there's a website. Here's some more pictures from El Greco.
And they have the meat on the spit, and they carve it right off when you're standing there. It's so good.
They're not paying us at all, so we're just kind of highlighting them today. But
yeah,
their food does look fresh. They say they're known for their fresh quality ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could go to lunch there, I think, and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Even if
really,
it's not
really good.
Dolphin-free and family-owned, JR.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a good salad.
So I was asking the guy, yeah. So there was another El Greco in Cupertino that went under. Oh. And that was during COVID. And I don't know if this is family owned, but I think it might be family owned.
Oh, that's the baklava.
That's the baklava, yeah.
Did you get the baklava for?
No, I didn't get anything else. I just got the gyro. And is it gyro or gyro? Because that was the other thing.
I say gyro. I think it's gyro.
I say gyro too. Anybody want to correct me, Andreas? Yeah. French fries in a kebab is a very normal thing in the UK.
Oh.
That's what Ryan says. Yeah, it looks hella good. Where is it? It's Mindy says, okay, where is it? It's on Winchester near like Santa Moss, right there. Actually, I'm being like Sunnyside, I think is right there. But anyways, it's real. Google it. There's not another one. El Greco, but the falafel drive in will always be the go-to. Oh, they like El Greco, but the falafel drive. So Nick says falafel drive's my favorite too. I haven't been there, and don't hate me for saying this. I'm not much a falafel fan, but maybe I haven't got good falafel.
Yeah.
I find it dry. Is that terrible? I have had falafel before. And again, I've only had Greek food a handful of times, and I have had falafel in those handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks good, but I just don't feel like it is. Oh, it's how they serve it in Greece is with French fries? Is that what you're saying, Andreas? Is that with the French fries is how they serve it in Greece? All right. Making me so hungry, John. Exactly. Yes, very common to have French fries again. So this is really, really good. Did it have raw onions in it? No, I don't see any onions in it. Actually, I just have tomato, tzatziki sauce, the pork. Hold on, is this?
Oh, by the way, Andreas sends us a pronouncer. He says gyro.
Gyro.
Gyro. Yeah, gyro.
I was going to say gyro. Gyro was the other option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm telling you, bomb diggity.
Yeah. Good. And probably, other than the French fries, pretty good for you. I mean, you got some vegetables in there.
Oh,
Wonderful.
falafel is Arabic. Okay. It's all news to me. All right. Well, oh yeah. Falafel drive will make you like it. The sauce. Okay. We'll put that on the list. So again, we're looking for more sponsors for the show. We don't want it to be like an inundation of ads for you guys, because I love the fact that we can just move the show along. But the food segment is extremely popular. Our numbers are really high during the segment. So if you guys want to sponsor it, if you have a local business, if you own a local business, let us know. Reach out to me, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And we're going to work with some sponsors. And we'll work something out that's beneficial, obviously, for us both, whether it's a daily, a weekly, a monthly, maybe just per segment type of thing. We can work it out. But I just love this year. And I want to highlight local businesses. So if you want me to try something out, whether it's a local restaurant, family owned, small hole in the wall, I follow this one guy. He does food segments on TikTok, and he's only based in Las Vegas. His name is Keith Lee, and he's extremely popular. And I love what he does because he only visits, well, I don't know if he only visits local family owned restaurants, but he rates them. And he looks at the marketing, if they're not doing good business, like a lot of business, he tries to find out why it is. Is it the food? Is it the marketing? Is it something else? That's kind of his shtick. But it made me think, I'm like, there's so many local businesses in a city as big as San Jose that don't get a lot of attention. And how many of us bitch and moan, right? That you could drive down I-5 or whatever, and every town looks the same with the same big name type of restaurants and fast food. Well, there's all these local mom and pop shops that need some love. And so let me know. And it doesn't just have to be food, although I love food because I love the Friday food segment. But if there's another type of business that you want me to visit, I could visit and I could give you my honest opinion. Now, that's the risk, of course, right? Is I may not like it. I might not have liked that gyro, but it was bomb. That was really, really good. And I'll totally be honest about it. So just
maybe you should go to the falafel drive place next time.
I know. I'm thinking I'm going to have to, because if it's Arabic food, it's not Greek food. So it's a totally different type of food. So I'll put it on the list and maybe we'll do that next time. So, were they on Diners, Drive-Ins and Dives? Do you ever watch that show, Kim?
I love it. Guy, love that show. Yeah. Guy Fieri.
So Falafel Drive was on that, apparently, according to Randy. And yes, I would be talking about the one in San Jose because that is where I live. All right.
Somebody's there.
I'm like, I can't answer the door, so just go away. Sorry.
That's so funny. And thank you very much, Dora, for the super sticker. I'm sure Nikki will go through and say thank you, but just so you know, we appreciate all the help we can get. we we find ourselves in a different position now, so we're very grateful.
Okay, Nugget, absolutely. Be quiet. I can't answer the door. Go away. So yeah, okay. So we're gonna do Kim's news again. I want to give one more shout out, of course, to El Greco on Winchester. Very good food. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I want to get into. Actually, I'll set this up so you guys can start commenting on it before we go to Kim's news. So there is a male birth control pill. 100% effective. I mean, you don't often see this, even when the study is done on mice. Okay, 100% effective. So this is how it works. The pill works by stopping sperm from being able to swim long enough to reach the egg. So it just kind of gets lazy and drops off, right? Typical, right? So in mice, pardon me, it was found to be 100% effective at stopping pregnancy between 30 minutes and 1 hour after being taken. So if you know you're about to get some, pop this pill. I'm telling you, this is what's important, because what's the problem with other type of pills is that you're like, well, do I take the Viagra now? Because I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get it. And then it takes time to work. Or, obviously with condoms, you can use it. It's not 100%, 30 to 1 hour being taken. So you can just make out for about a half an hour and you should be working on it, boys. And then you prevent pregnancy 100%. It dropped to 91% effective in the 3rd hour when the sperm started to regain some mobility, and then 78% effective for the 8th hour. And after 24 hours, nearly all the sperm were able to move effectively again, according to the study. Yeah, I think that this is such good news. I feel like the fact that the sperm gets back to its normal swimming self within a day is awesome, because that's obviously a concern. And I think that it's time for men to step up. Now, unlike the female contraceptive pill, this is hormone free. So you don't even have to worry about, getting sad or gaining weight or having acne like women have to deal with, because, God forbid we make the female birth control pill any better, but whatever. Other hormonal male contraception being developed works by lowering testosterone levels, which men also may not want to happen. They also believe that it won't cause this 100% effective in mice male birth control pill is unlikely to cause unwanted side effects like mood swings, nausea, or headache. I mean, how much easier do we have to make it for you men to take control of your own birth control? So before we get to Kim's news, I'll get to it in just a moment, but you guys tell me in the comments and I'll read some of them when we come back. Would you take it? Would you want your son? Would you want your husband? Would you want whatever man in your life to take this birth control pill? And why or why not? And do you think men will remember to take it? I think it's about time that men kind of carry some of the weight of birth control. I was team snip, right? Remember with Roe v. Wade, men should go get a vasectomy, because if you're not going to have kids, just go get it. It's a lot easier than having an unwanted pregnancy or anything like that. So you guys let me know in the comments. Again, click that thumbs up button to support the show. It really helps us out. The super chat is live. You could donate some bucks. We'll give some more thank yous. A lot of you donating to the super chat today, and we really do appreciate it. Yeah. So again, we'll talk male contraceptive, and then we'll also talk about Fox News and the lying liars that they are, and they knew it all along. That's coming up. Yeah.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let us start with the situation in Afghanistan, and now Republicans are saying they want the Biden administration to answer some questions about the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. The House Oversight Committee is requesting all information related to the pullout of American troops from that country in 2021 after a nearly 2-decade-long war. Committee Chair James Comer calling it a disastrous military and diplomatic withdrawal that led to a Taliban takeover. SpaceX gearing up for a late-night launch from Florida. Yes, a Falcon 9 rocket scheduled to blast off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station carrying a satellite for a London-based communications company. Forecasters say launch conditions are 65% go for 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Disney delaying the release date of Marvel Studios' upcoming film, The Marvels. That sounds like a whole different story. My apologies. Let's talk about the farm worker who is accused in the Half Moon Bay shooting situation. Could face the death penalty if convicted. He pleaded not guilty yesterday to all charges and gave up his right to a speedy preliminary hearing. The San Mateo County District Attorney says it is the first step in what will be a very long process. The defense is still going through police reports that accuse the 66-year-old of killing 4 people at his job site last month and 3 others at a second farm where he'd been fired in 2015. The next court hearing is set for May. There's some warnings coming out about a dangerous new drug in the Bay Area. It's popping up for the first time now. It's called Tranq, as in tranquilizer. It's a combination of fentanyl and horse tranquilizers. Health officials confirmed yesterday it caused 4 recent overdose deaths in San Francisco. Last year, fentanyl was to blame for 72% of the city's overdose deaths. While some lives can be saved with Narcan, the reversal medication won't work on those who take Tranq. San Francisco ending the COVID state of emergency on February 28th. Indeed, the city's health officer giving an update yesterday saying the virus isn't the really severe threat it was 3 years ago. She says people still need to use tools like masks and vaccines to reduce their risk of getting sick. The date the same for ending the statewide emergency. Again, it's February 28th. Several Bay Area counties are also following that plan as well. In the city of Antioch, police are apologizing for basically not doing a good enough job, they say. Let me get this picture down because I can't do everything at once. But yes, city of Antioch, a lieutenant apologizing yesterday for not getting to 2 recent restaurant burglaries fast enough, saying officers were on other high priority calls. Looks like they just don't have enough staff to go around. He pointed out they typically aren't that slow to arrive on the scene, admitting this time they were pretty short of their goals. One business, Cochina Medina, posting the video on Facebook of the damage, captioning it, "What's the point?" Oakland, some Bay Area students are proving the show must go on. We have to live by this rule, right? They played a concert last night after their musical instruments were stolen from Oakland School for the Arts. The first burglary happened 2 weeks ago. Then another one on Monday. Surveillance video shows 2 thieves making off with up to $30,000 worth of instruments. The teens still determined to perform, so they either rented or borrowed items like cellos and guitars and performed anyway. This report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve has you covered. He's at 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you for joining us for the second half of the Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube or anytime you want to listen to it because YouTube. I just want to respond to one of the comments that happened that came in during Kim's news. Al Anonymous writes, why does Rihanna call her makeup brand Fenty? It's clearly a reference to fentanyl.
You think so?
No, her last name is Fenty.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know
Robin
that.
Rihanna Fenty.
Okay.
That is her that is her name. That's her surname. I don't know if she changed it when she got married to A$AP Rocky, but yeah, that's why. It is I don't know if you were joking, Al Anonymous, but no. It is not a reference to fentanyl. I mean, it's not like her last, it's not like she named it Xanax or literally fentanyl. But no. All right. Go ahead. What?
I was just going to say that Tranq story is pretty scary.
It is so, you know what I was thinking when you were talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
We're just not okay. Like, people just want to escape. They just need to find something to take that takes them away from reality. And it's sad. Now, okay, I'm not going to get on my high horse. I think alcohol is the same, marijuana, obviously being altered in an altered state.
No.
But it does seem like fentanyl, and there's now Trank, and Trank doesn't work for the Narcan. So
that's the scary part.
That's the scary part.
You want out so badly that you're willing to take a pill that's made up of fentanyl and horse tranquilizer, and you know that even Narcan won't work to bring you back. I mean,
yeah,
wow.
I mean, exactly. I mean, then obviously, but do we stop trying to save these people? And do they know that they're taking Trank versus fentanyl or something else? I don't know.
And then also, it seems like, once we come up with some life-saving measure like Narcan, and then you come out with another thing that won't work on, are they trying to kill their customers, these drug dealers? Are you trying to hurt people then? I mean, obviously you don't care whether people live or die. You're a drug dealer. I get it. But it just seems like you're hurting your own business if you're killing people off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's sad. And you could tell people like, just say no, don't do drugs. But the reason why drugs are so rampant and fentanyl is so rampant in this country is because people buy it and people take it. And the problem with fentanyl is it's being cut into other drugs that people are used to taking. And I don't know how you fight that. I really, really don't. And it's sad. So just if you participate, imbibe, I don't know, be careful, people. Because there's stuff that is just straight up going to kill you. Just going to kill you. All right. I want to get to what we were talking about before Kim's news. And that, of course, was this male contraceptive, this male birth control pill that's 100% effective in mice. And what it does is it makes men's sperm lazy. It only can swim so far. It can't make it all the way there. Which... that sounds good to me, right? That's the problem. Anonymous wrote in, so the sperm became too drunk to navigate? Possibly. Nick writes in, men are the inseminators. It is absolutely their responsibility to prevent unwanted pregnancy. I am on board with this 100%. Walnut Creek adult softball, stun, then swim. Yeah. SF Tesla, regarding the 100% effective male contraceptive, does it make your beard stop growing or anything else fall off? Apparently no side effects, my friend.
What?
No side effects.
No side effects at
all?
all?
No hormones, no nausea, no headache. The things we've been dealing with since the birth control pill came out decades ago.
Higher risk of cancer, whatever else.
There is low hormone female birth control pill. There is, low, but it's nothing like this. Mo Direct, contraceptive for men. Absolutely. The morning after pill is a primary item, should be in everybody's purse or kit. But this stops before you do it. So you don't even have to get the morning after pill, right? You can, and I would say it would ease the, some guys don't want to be stressed while they're trying to get it done. So, this could take some of the stress out so you could perform better. Perhaps. I don't know. I'm just saying. Lori says, doubtful it will work the same in people. Mice have a faster metabolism, probably make new sperm more often. Men will have already made sperm in the testes and won't deal with those. We'll have to take daily. Oh, interesting. And then I was asking the question, will men remember? Murphy writes in, my husband can't remember to run the dishwasher in a But somebody took issue with this whole idea of men being forgetful. Heather Kennedy. Men are perfectly capable of remembering stuff like this. The whole trope about men not being able to manage their time is just weaponized incompetence. Here. I mean, but if it's still happening, whether it's weaponized incompetence or they really just don't think about it. The thing I like about this is that you could take it right before sex. That's what I like.
So according to this article on this particular medicine in Smithsonian Magazine, it is the pill is an enzyme needed for sperm to move.
Right.
So it just zeroes in on the specific enzyme. You can see this picture of a wiggler right there. And it just makes it not be able to move. So whatever you're shooting out is, kind of
stunned,
immobile. It's, stunned. And it's like, I can't do it.
Just stay where you are. Don't be a swimming. JR, if you put a warning on the birth control, caution, may cause penis enlargement or hair growth. No dudes will forget to take it.
They'll sign up for it, right?
Kevin would take it. Male birth control is fine with me. I take it. I just feel like, men need to be more And I'm not saying that all men are irresponsible when it comes to sex and birth control. I just feel like the onus has always been mostly on the woman, right? A guy has to wear a condom, but a woman has to take birth control pill. And then it does not matter. You can argue with me till the cows come home. Yeah. Women face the biggest repercussions from sex than men do. Men can walk away. Women cannot. If they get pregnant, they have to make a decision. They can't ignore it.
Right.
They can't change their phone number. They can't be like, new uterus, who this? Helping people. So
what I like about it though is that it's, right now there's basically two methods for men. That's a condom and that's a vasectomy. In one, it changes the feel, the condom, right?
Right.
Although it also prevents STDs, so big proponent of that. But in the other, the vasectomy is sometimes reversible and sometimes not. So that's a kind of I'd call that a permanent fix. But if you don't know that you might want kids in the future, or if you don't want to take that permanence, this is perfect. If 100% effective, now we've got this third option where it's not, there's no effect. You don't even feel that anything's different at all. So, it's not like a condom where there's a difference, and it's not this permanence. So that's great. Apparently it's a long way off though. There's a lot of testing that still has to be done.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to test the crap out of it, of course. Mm-hmm. And it's not as if because men don't get pregnant that there's some sort of rush to do this, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. Ryan made a good point though. Might promote less condom use and an uptick in STIs.
Yeah.
That's true. But it would reduce pregnancies. That's for sure. And there's a lot of people that not to be harsh, but I'm not going to say that I don't wish we're ever born, but how about I just wish weren't on my television screen anymore. So I'm sure you guys have been covering and following the Dominion lawsuit, right? And now what we're learning from these text messages that have been coming out, it's upsetting. It's infuriating. This should be criminal. So here are some bombshells that have come out from this lawsuit and the texts. Rupert Murdoch instructed the president of Fox News to help Trump any way we can. Murdoch emailed Fox News president Suzanne Scott with a warning about Newsmax, which is like the crazy cousin of Fox News, right? As the small conservative network gained support from Trump and viewers who were leaving Fox News for not being badass crazy enough. Apparently, one staggering line said Trump will concede eventually, and we should concentrate on Georgia helping any way we can. We don't want to antagonize Trump further, but Giuliani taken with a large grain of salt. Everything's at stake here. Tucker Carlson tried to get a star reporter, Jackie Heinrich, fired. The Trump tweet so Jackie Heinrich was a Fox News White House correspondent. She fact-checked a tweet from Trump about the Dominion voting system. The Trump tweet she was fact-checking, however, cited Hannity and Lou Dobbs. And so that made Tucker Carlson upset. He texted the group chat, please get her fired. Seriously, what the F? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. Not a joke. This is a channel that some of you, even in my chat, say is a news channel. It is not. It is propaganda for the Republican Party, and really the craziest part of the Republican Party at that. Let's see what else. Reporters were punished, like I mentioned, for fact checking. Tucker Carlson, though, the ass kisser himself, also called Trump demonic. Days after the election, Carlson fumed in text to his now former producer about the Arizona calling the race. We worked hard, really hard to build what we have. Those effers are destroying our credibility. It enrages me. It's a hard needle to thread, Pfeiffer replied. That Alex Pfeiffer was the former producer now. But I really think many on quote unquote our side are being reckless demagogues right now. In response, Carlson conveyed his fear that Trump could destroy his hit show if they play it wrong. Top Fox hosts and executives knew the election claims were bunk. Let's see. In private text from top Fox News figures, Tucker Carlson wrote, Sidney Powell is lying, by the way. I caught her. It's insane. Laura Ingraham replied, Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy. And then Carlson said, our viewers are good people and they believe it. So see this nonsense? It's freaking ridiculous. And yet, how many of you, and I'm going to play some sound right now from some of the women on The View. And the reason why I like to play The View largely is because of the conservative voice, Alyssa Farah Griffin, because she used to be White House press secretary to former President Trump. And obviously was on Fox News and is one of those people. And this is them talking about this lawsuit, this defamation lawsuit Dominion Systems has against Fox News. Here you go.
It's a disaster. It's insulting to the viewers, too, because to Sarah's point, I have a lot of family members who are Fox watchers, but they're, making lunch for the kids. They're getting ready to run out. They have it on in the background. They're thinking, I can trust these people. I've always been a Fox viewer. Well. But no, they're straight up lying, and they know they're lying and taking advantage.
What do you think the solve is for it? Because I also have family members that keep it on all day. I hate to admit it, but they do. And I just wonder what the solve is, because I've been in a position to tell them, that's not true. And they're like, yes, it is. They really believe it. And, Chris Wallace, before he left, said one of the reasons he left was once they started questioning facts, questioning truth, he found that to be unsustainable. I think the same thing will happen to Bret Baier, because
Is Bret still there?
Bret's still there. I can't imagine that he'll stay. I think they're going to lose him. But what is the solve for something like this?
The solve is for Fox News to go away. The solve is for them to lose their ass in this defamation lawsuit, to send a message to other stations that are crazier than them, like Newsmax, that you can't lie blatantly on your show, especially against other companies like Dominion Voting System. There needs to be some sort of repercussion, and I'm so glad that this information is coming out. I just wonder, Kim, like they were talking about, how many people that regularly watch Fox News are going to pay attention to this? Or are they just going to keep just drinking the Kool-Aid?
If there were emails that said former Station X, staffers or management said, do whatever you can do to bolster President Biden and the Democrats, I would be horrified.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I would be ashamed, because that's never what this has been about. Now, we can have opinions, especially, hosts and whatnot, people that are paid to give their opinion, like the op-ed section of a newspaper. That's different than a boss saying, do whatever you can to protect. What was the first? It was the first thing you read. The Fox News management said, do whatever you need to say, whatever you need to do to protect President Trump.
Yeah, he said Trump will concede eventually, and we should concentrate on Georgia, helping any way we can. We don't want to antagonize Trump further, but Giuliani, taken with a large grain of salt, everything's at stake here.
I mean, it shows that you have a point, that your point is propaganda. They are not a news network. It's a propaganda network.
Yep,
and if you know that, then how can you believe anything they say? Anything at all?
I don't know if this is the first time Chris is watching my show. I've seen your name a lot lately. Yeah. How long till Nikki's on Fox refuting her liberal past?
What?
Not ever.
No.
That happens the other way, though. I have seen that happen the other way, right? I mean, look at Alyssa Farah Griffin. Although she still is a conservative, she is on a more what would be traditional liberal described show, i.e. The View. Even though they do have differing opinions, I would definitely say it leans more liberal. Chris Wallace went to CNN, but I think for a valid reason. When you realize, look, I might be conservative, but these people are straight up lying and have no integrity. I mean, and I'm sharing my opinion. I think I say, in my opinion, 1 million times on this show. So it is abundantly clear. Now, if Tucker Carlson is like, in my opinion, I think something nefarious is going on, that's one thing. Saying that they actually switched votes and that there's something there is lying.
Well, and also the now knowing that they're lying. They knew they were lying. They were lying on purpose and coming up with lies. There's one thing to believe, to be whatever you are, a Democrat, Republican, whatever, but base your opinions and your beliefs on facts. There's another whole situation when you are having to base your opinions on lies. Exactly. Doesn't that call into question everything you think? I don't care what side you're on. If
Absolutely.
if everything you thought in the last few years boils down to them lying to you, then what are your beliefs based on? You got to start questioning everything then.
I would say that it's based exactly. I would say that come to Jesus moment, Kim, these people don't have enough of a backbone to have, right? Laura Ingraham is not going to give up her show. Tucker Carlson is not going to give up his show because all they have to do is just keep spewing the lie.
How
They just have to
embarrassing,
keep.
though.
They don't care though, because
but
they have
it's a
enough people
giant-
in their ear saying,
it's
"You're fine, you're fine."
It's a giant billboard to the world that says you went on television to help the public on the public airwaves and you lied to them. You are a liar. Your
Mhm.
whole job is lying. And you're
Yeah.
going to go back on and continue to lie day after day when everybody knows that everything that comes out of your mouth is for a specific reason and it's not based on truth. How embarrassing. You should be ashamed.
Absolutely, they should, but they have no shame. Now, Randy wrote in just for equal time about idiotic things on cable news networks. Are you going to talk about Don Lemon's comments about when women are in their prime? So apparently he was talking about Nikki Haley, I think I'm correct,
That's
where
right.
he was saying she was outside her prime. Then he came out and he apologized about it.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
We had a big thing about it on the Mark Thompson show today. I actually did it in the news.
Yeah.
He is he's apologizing. He's saying, yeah, it was bad. His comments were apparently sexist.
It's sexist.
Saying
It is
she's
sexist.
not in her prime. That's Don Lemon. Yeah, I have the picture because we did the story, Randy. So there you go.
And yeah, maybe I'm not doing it on my show. I don't. Don Lemon's opinion about whether or not a woman is in her prime, it does not rise to the level of lying about our election system. I'm sorry, I missed that one. But it is sexist. Shocking. A man that has a powerful position, whether he is a left, right, or center, makes a sexist comment. Shocking. Mind blown.
Yeah, we've all fallen down and tripped because we're so surprised.
Exactly. I mean,
Like we don't deal with that every day.
Yes,
Comments
exactly.
about your appearance and whatever else.
But he was wrong to say it. I will hands down say Don Lemon is an asshat for saying something like that. And honestly, Nikki Haley is not outside of her prime. I don't even know why that would have came out of his mouth. She is nowhere near outside her prime. She should be taken seriously. I don't agree with it politically, but whatever. Exactly.
Who cares what she looks like, right? Is she? Do you like her politics? Is she lying to you?
Right.
Do you find that you're a allied or a like-minded with her on the issues?
Yeah.
Then what does her appearance matter?
Exactly. I mean, and again, Don Lemon's comments about her, I think, was a dig, a sexist dig. But again, when we're talking about truths and opinion, when we're talking about our election system versus, oh, wait, let's comment on another woman's appearance and whether she's in her prime and can do the job. I mean, yeah, it's February 17th, 2023. Not much has changed in that arena.
What's interesting, though, is, we might say, oh, Governor Gavin Newsom's a good-looking guy or, whatever it is. But we never look at it seems like we don't necessarily look at presidents or people running for president if they're men and say he's not looking too good or he's not attractive enough to be president. But with a woman, if she's not wearing the right pantsuit or if her hair's out of place and she doesn't have that slick look. We heard Hillary Clinton was running and she had to have a whole her people went in and redid her. She had that whole polished look that she had to have, because if you don't exactly look right, it doesn't matter what your politics are, you don't look good enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not pretty enough to be president. When did looks enter into it?
I know. I mean, come on. Have you seen some of our past presidents? I mean, geez Louise, give me a break. John writes in, he said it because she demanded that Biden and Trump take a mental competency test because they aren't in their prime. I understand what you're saying, but to compare men that are like 80 and like almost 80 to Nikki Haley, who is way younger, and trying to compare the two. No, he was making a sexist comment about her, and let's not defend the comment, John.
And he admitted it. He apologized for it.
He did
said,
apologize.
He said I shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I do want to add this one other thing though, because I want to be fair when we talk about politics and people's stance, and I want to play this exchange. I might not play it all because it's a bit long. Or I might jump around a little bit. So this is between CNN, former Fox News, but CNN host Chris Wallace. And he's talking about the border, which, Kevin McCarthy went down to the border. Hakeem Jeffries, I think, is going today or is planning on going to the border. This is the issue that the GOP loves to talk about, although I don't think they actually have a solution, which is kind of their MO. But here is Chris Wallace, again on CNN, talking with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over his assertions that the U.S. border is secure. So let me play you just a little bit of this because, again, in all fairness, but I think the reason why I really want to play this is because there's answering the question and knowing what the question really is. Okay, so here.
What caused the pent-up demand to leave a country that is suffering extreme poverty, extreme violence, authoritarian regime? What was the repressive factor in 2020? The pandemic. Right now, the United States has millions of jobs opening due to the economic success of this administration. We have progressed in Congress. But by that measure, the border has never been.
You're muted.
I'm going to end it there because it goes on for several more minutes. But it was a great interview from Chris Wallace. And I think that last point is the point I wanted to end with, because 4 years is unacceptable. And I think both a Democrat and a Republican and anyone in between can admit that. There should be a better process for people to seek asylum, which is legal to do in this country. And so it's not the fact that people are walking across. It's when they walk across and they surrender that the system is so very slow that we don't know who can stay and who needs to leave. And that's a problem that this country needs to address. But I don't believe that there is much appetite from the Republican Party to address that. They would rather just focus on, obviously, the tents, the encampments, the people actually walking across, instead of addressing the fact that we need more asylum judges and lawyers and people there in the moment to deal with it, not shipping people all over the country where obviously it's easier to lose them. And that's the problem. And, I want to put up a couple of, Randy's saying Mayorkas' responses are not just answering the question. He can't even define what secure means. Well, what does secure mean to you? Does secure mean, okay, we are watching these people, we are gathering them, we are documenting them. And then, of course, because our immigration system is broken, we're sending them on their way for their court appointment. Does it mean shooting them as they try to cross? I mean, is that what we're saying? Are we saying we want to get rid of asylum in this country, which is legal right now? You can cross the border and seek asylum. That is how it has been in America. Is it getting rid of that? So before others like Mayorkas and even President Biden can say, no, the border is not secure, you have to tell them, what do you mean by secure? And that's why when he started with, like, if one person crosses, obviously then that's been a breach. Does that mean it's not secure? It's not secure because our system sucks. Our system is broken. Our immigration system is broken. That's what's not working. The men and women that patrol our border and try to keep it safe are doing the best they can, I bet. But there's not enough people. There's not enough judges. There's not enough courts. And that's the problem. Okay, well, thank you guys. I just wanted to get to that because we were talking about Fox News. And, there are people that come from Fox News that, Chris Wallace, I didn't always agree with him on Fox, but he is a good journalist. And I think that, that exchange just kind of proved it, even if I don't, necessarily agree with everything he says. All right. Kim's going to do quick news, and then Tim Sika is waiting in the wings. It is Friday, of course. So we want to get to some movies, see what we should be watching this weekend. I have zero time to watch movies this weekend, but maybe Tim can convince me to watch something. Hopefully there's something that's streaming that'll be fun. Click that thumbs up button, please, if you can. We'll also give shout outs to people that have been donating in our super chat. You can donate during the live program and during the replay as well. Just look for that $sign and we see them and we respond to them, and we really appreciate it all. So we'll talk movies with Tim Sika next, right here on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. The United States may never recover all the debris from that balloon that was shot down, and the unidentified aerial object shot down by the military last week. White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby telling reporters that efforts to find these objects have been kind of stopped by the weather and bad locations where they came down. He said it'll be very difficult to determine what these objects are without actually recovering them. A serious situation going on in Mississippi where 6 people are dead and a suspect now in custody after a series of shootings that happened in northwest Mississippi in the town of Arcadia in the Tate County area near Memphis. One of the shootings happened at a local store. 4 other victims were found at a home, 2 inside, 2 outside. A small area. They're not used to that level of violence in that area. The California Department of Justice is establishing a whole unit now to investigate and review possible wrongful or improper criminal convictions. State Attorney General Rob Bonta, here he is, saying whether it's as a result of bias, changes in forensic evidence, or other issues, our system is not foolproof. The first ever post-conviction justice unit will be reviewing claims of innocence or cases where there may be a significant integrity issue as well. The group could also review cases for resentencing. Contra Costa and Sacramento counties already have similar units in their DA's offices. So interesting, Nikki, that they're taking this from kind of a county by county basis now to a state-wide effort to make sure that people that are actually convicted deserve to be convicted. Remember this guy? This is a San Francisco business owner who was so frustrated with this homeless lady outside of his business that he turned the hose on her. And it's his casual stance with his legs crossed, a hand in his pocket as if it's no big deal at all. Yeah, well, he's due in court next month. The man caught on camera telling the woman to move while spraying her with water on a chilly day in January. Shannon Collier Gwynn, who owns the Foster Gwynn Gallery, arrested for misdemeanor battery. He was due in court this morning. His attorney, though, has requested to have the hearing postponed. He faces up to 6 months in jail for this whole situation.
It was really cruel. I mean, that picture right there and the nonchalant way he's standing, that does him in. I mean, let alone what he's actually doing, but just, a picture and a video tells everything anybody needs to know.
No matter how frustrated you are, no matter how much business you're losing, no matter how many times you've called for help, you've got to find another way. You just can't be cruel.
Exactly.
Yeah. A bill introduced this week would require high school students to take a personal finance class. Yeah. In order to graduate. So you would have to learn how to handle your money before you could get out of high school. The class would teach kids how to make good financial decisions. The bill would make the course a graduation requirement, starting with students graduating in 2029. Schools have to offer the financial literacy course by the 2025-26 school year. That means, Nikki, that our kids would be affected by this personal finance class. And I say, absolutely.
Thank God. I mean, I put my kids and I talk to my kids about money all the time. My son kind of pays more attention than my daughter does, even though I continue to hound into her head, like save, spend, donate, those sorts of things. But yeah, I mean, they have watched us because we don't really use credit cards in this house. If we have to pay for something, we pay for it in cash 99% of the time. And so it's just one of those things where for instance, this move, we need so many things. And I've told my daughter, I'm like, well, we're going to have to wait for another paycheck because we just can't pay for it right now. And that's just the way it is. You wait for things you need.
Yeah. If you can't fork over the cash, you don't buy it. Right. And a lot of people don't believe that. Almost half of young children in the United States don't eat a daily vegetable. That according to the CDC, which also found about 1 in 3 kids don't get at least one fruit in their daily diet either. The results coming from more than 18,000 responses from parents to the 2021 National Survey of Children's Health. They relayed what their kids between the ages of 1 and 5 years old ate the previous week. Nearly 60% of parents said their child consumed a sugar-sweetened drink in that time. But no fruit, no vegetable. Your kids eat 1 fruit or 1 vegetable a day?
Yes, definitely one fruit, at least one fruit a day. Veggies are hard because sometimes they'll choose. I always give them the option of fruits or vegetables, and so obviously they lean more towards fruits. But broccoli and cauliflower, I can get, and corn, which is more of a starch, I can get into them regularly. They're not very adventurous with the other vegetables. How about you?
It's a struggle. Well, this story came out yesterday, and I was starting to think of what did they eat yesterday? They both had a banana, so I'm good on the fruit.
Oh yeah.
I think one had a vegetable, one didn't have a vegetable. So it is hard. It's a challenge. But
Well,
I think,
and also like you know what it's like. You're driving around from this place to that place, and sometimes it's like I mean, we have breakfast and things like that, but cooking a dinner. I mean, yesterday I made corned beef and cabbage with carrots and everything. So they had that. So they had carrots. So that was good. But corned beef is not healthy. So
there's this little place. I have to hit them up for a sponsorship if I talk about them probably. But there's this little place in Petaluma called the Java Hut. And it's like a drive-through coffee place.
Yeah.
And they have right in their front window, thank God for them, a little bowl of bananas.
Oh, yeah.
And so my kids always are like, can we have a banana? And I'm like, absolutely, take a banana.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
they're gonna ask us. Absolutely. If they ask,
right in the front. But I think a story like this kind of puts it back, on us to remember. It's like, oh, are we paying attention? Are we thinking about stuff like that? Yeah. Let's hear the story that almost half of kids in the US don't eat a daily vegetable or fruit. And we need to remember. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz is the one to call. He's at 888-TAX-DEAL and MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. Thank you, Kim. We really appreciate it. And again, please click that thumbs up button. It really helps us out. I do want to give some shout outs to people that have been donating to our super live, super chat, super stickers. So let's get to some of those because I know we want to get to Tim Sika real quickly, who is waiting in the wings. Thank you so much, Tim. We'll get to you. Andreas gave us $20. He wrote, we should eliminate liberal and conservative and change these labels to right and wrong. I love it. Don was wrong as Fox is wrong. That's a good point. Dora Lopez with the $10 super sticker. Thank you, Dora.
Thank you,
Wes.
Dora.
Oh, okay. I could do better than $3, but I had to switch the account. Oh, we love any amount that you can give Wes. We're amazing. Because he also gave a $3 super sticker. You're the best. Andreas with another $10. I love you. I love you. I love you. And he was teaching us how to spell tzatziki. I'm probably still saying it.
Yeah.
Tzatziki. I wanted to throw this in, even though this wasn't a donation, but Ren wrote in making your cauliflower snacks for the second time since Sunday. Thanks for the recipe.
Awesome.
Our food segments, I'm telling you, Kim, they're the most popular. $10 from Anne Marie. Just wanted to donate because I haven't had a chance to in a while. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Anne Marie, thank you.
Yeah, $20 from Karen Cooper and an aloha, Kim, from the Big Island of Hawaii.
Aloha.
So there you go. Joe Fong with a $10 super sticker. Murphy came in with a $10 super sticker as well. Love you. Beth with $20 super stickers. Thank you, Beth. And another aloha from Walter, who I believe it's the same Walter became a Patreon subscriber. So we
mahalo, and thank you for that.
Andreas, of course, so generous with another $10 donation. $10 from Luce as well. Luce appreciates us, Kim, so very much. And
We
love you
appreciate
all.
you. Liz,
Exactly.
Really appreciate it.
Jay Stiller, tacos on this Friday and a $2 donation. $10 from Kathleen as a super sticker. And then again, $10 from Andreas. And urged me to go to Nick the Greek, but I didn't. I went to El Greco on Winchester Boulevard, and it was so very good. All right. Now that I'm hungry, let's find out something to watch with all of our food and say good afternoon to the one and only Tim Sika. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Kim.
All right. So, my friend, thank you for being so patient. There's a ton of things that you have watched. And let's start with Oven Age. Oven Age. It's an Australian film, apparently.
Yeah, this is a very interesting, well-directed, written, and acted coming-of-age indie drama from Australia. And it's about a Serbian immigrant in Australia who enters into this fleeting but intense romance with the brother of his ballroom dance partner. It sounds more complicated than it is. It's a gay-themed movie about the intensity of a first relationship, but the gay component is really only its reference point. Its themes and situations are, I think, universally relatable to anybody who's ever been in a relationship. So that's to its credit. This is a story that can be about anyone, gay, straight, transgender, whatever. And a lot of what pulls you into this movie, it's an indie movie. It's kind of like a ragtag indie. And the best parts of it are the dialogue, the conversations that the characters have with each other, especially during the main set piece, which takes place in an automobile. The conversation runs the gamut of funny, flirtatious, revealing, a lot of talk, but words as cinema, because the style of the movie is still very visual. The energy of the movie hits you through the dialogue, though, which is no small feat when you're making a movie about, or that relies so much on people talking. And it's been a kind of a renaissance year, I think, for queer cinema, gay cinema, movies like Bros and Fire Island and Spoiler Alert, several really good documentaries too with gay content. And this movie can happily stand its place alongside the best of those movies of the past year. Very good movie, worth seeing, especially for those, who enjoy gay themed movies. But it's really for everybody. And it's called Of an Age. It opens today in theaters. In
theaters. All right. Now another one that's in theaters is The Blue Caftan.
Oh man, this is I'm going to give away my hand right at the outset. This is cinema at its finest, and by cinema I mean movies that talk to your psyche, ones that go beyond providing just escapism. Right. This is a beautiful film. It's a French film, but it's in Arabic, and don't let that scare you, right? But it's in Arabic, but it's about a woman and her, here we go, gay themed again, although this isn't really gay themed, although that's in the background. She has a closeted husband. They both run a combination dress tailor shop in Morocco where everything is hand sewn. And because it's the modern age and people want the kind of quality that only hand sewn garments can provide, they hire this young man as an apprentice to help out. And that's the story. It's about these three people and the fashioning of a particular blue caftan that, because of its intricate embroidery, is taking them quite some time to finish. So anyway, this is, for my money, the best film of the week. And if you have to only see one movie, you should pick this one. It's strongly character-based. It's about time and the impermanence of time and the notion of time as measurement and how that affects the current pace of life and how it may not only be conflicting to the old ways of living and doing, but maybe even destroying them, the old ways and their beauty. And all of this drama unfolds and is set against the sewing of this caftan. And that doesn't sound like much, but it's anything but boring. It's a beautiful, moving, patiently paced, powerful human drama about what people are feeling, but for whatever reason, their upbringing, cultural restriction, fear, whatever, for whatever reason, they're unable to express that feeling through word or action. So it's what's unsaid in this movie that makes you not want to stop watching. And Nikki, this is the kind of human film I think if most people would open themselves up to, they might discover that they preferred this from a lot of what's being offered to them by the major studios. But anyway, like I said, beautiful movie, best experience rather than just listening to me tell you how great it is.
Well, yeah, and I think you make an excellent point. I mean, if people would just get over, reading subtitles and understanding that films come in different languages, then they can really immerse themselves into wonderful stories.
Absolutely. Yep.
There is a new one out with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Marlowe. Tell me about that.
I read that this is his 100th movie, Liam Neeson.
Oh, fun.
Anyway, this is my cup of tea, this movie. It's an old-fashioned, and by that, I mean that as a compliment. It's actually more classic than old-fashioned. It's a detective mystery thriller drama whodunit starring Liam Neeson. And he plays Detective Philip Marlowe, author Raymond Chandler's popular literary creation, and a role Humphrey Bogart would have played today. Well, Humphrey Bogart did play it in The Big Sleep in 1946. Anyway, in this color movie, Liam Neeson plays Detective Philip Marlowe, who is hired to find the ex-lover of an heiress, played by Diane Kruger, whose mother is played by Jessica Lange, who plays the part of a famous Hollywood actress. She's fantastic. And the story takes place in Los Angeles, October of 1939, I think, where war has just started in Europe. So snappy dialogue, tongue-in-cheek delivery of that dialogue by a great and colorful cast.
Nice.
It's a twisty, dark, and occasionally nasty. Boy, does it get dark. It's about blackmail and corruption and murder and love and reconciliation. And actually the plot is actually about something other than the plot, like a Hitchcock movie, but it's a must-see for movie buffs and lovers of classic
I like
cinema.
it.
Yeah,
I love the
Very
poster of the Los Angeles 1932 outside the spotlight.
Doesn't that look like a classic? Yeah,
it does. It looks really cool.
It's really good. Yeah.
All right, let's get to The Integrity of Joseph Chambers, which is kind of a long title for a movie, I would say.
Yeah, this is another movie I think film goers would love if they only knew about it and would give it a chance. It's a story about a guy who decides to go hunting one day. It's a real simple premise, against his wife's wishes and a friend of his who claims he's not yet ready to go out hunting on his own. Well, he goes anyway, right? And an incident occurs which ignites the movie, the story, and keeps you riveted until its conclusion. And the least said about the plot elements, the better. But thematically, this is a movie about toxic masculinity, hunting for sport, which I have very little patience for as an activity, and the homeless problem, believe it or not, all the while asking the question, what does it mean? What does it actually mean to survive? And is it enough to survive for survival's sake? It's an absorbing drama, well acted, scripted, directed, and one of those little films that needs a lot of love because I think regular moviegoers would dig it if they knew about it. It's called The Integrity of Joseph Chambers, and it's a kick-ass movie.
Oh, wow. You know, I'm toxic masculinity. I get enough of in like real life, but I think I might like that one though.
Yeah. Well,
is it in movies or where do you find it?
Yeah, it's actually opening in theaters and VOD today, so you can video.
Oh, so you can pay for it if you want to watch it at home. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Now, this one, I loved this movie when it first came out. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Oh my God! And this seems to be the thing. So this must have fallen or come out the same time as the Titanic, because the Titanic's like having its 25th.
It's an anniversary thing. They're calling it the 25th anniversary re-release of Ang Lee's movie. 2000 Oscar winner. It won 4 Academy Awards. It came out in 2000, so to call it a 25th anniversary is a bit of a stretch. But but I know why they're doing it, because Michelle Yeoh, who is a co-star here and who is also nominated this year for a Best Actress Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Anyway, this is being labeled 4K restoration, which I'm not sure what that means, but I did get to see this new print they struck, and it is beautiful. And I hadn't seen the film in 23 years, but boy, does it hold up. The romance, the martial arts, the intrigue, the drama, the mystery, the legend, the mysticism, the poetry, it's all here. It's wrapped up in this glorious entertainment package. So if you've never seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, here's your chance to see it on the big screen, this colorful restoration. You know, it's the martial arts movie where the characters, when they're fighting each other, pursuing each other, they fly across the skies and the tree. And it's so beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, so this is a beautiful movie that elevates the martial arts movie to a level of art, in my opinion. And it's opening. Yes.
Okay. I was going to ask you, what do you think about these re-releases? I mean, do you think it's lazy, or is it really worth it?
Well, I mean, considering that the movies were always made to be seen on a big screen, and if they're popular enough, I mean, you know, if I had a lot of time, if I had a lot of time, I would go to experience these things on the big screen, because there's nothing like seeing a movie that was shot and performed for a big screen on a big screen, you know? So I think they're, you know, I mean, they're inexpensive for the distributors and the studios, because they just have to sort of pull it out and do some, you know, nipping and tucking and But I'm all for them. Yeah, absolutely.
And so how long is it going to be in the theaters for? Do we know?
At least a week, and it depends if it's making money like Titanic. I think Titanic is going in second week already. So,
oh wow, okay, all right. Well, we have one more before we let you go, Tim, and that, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know about this. I don't know about this.
Well, in most theaters that show Marvel and DC franchise-related movies, like in space, no one can hear you scream, which is what I thought I might be doing, having to watch this third Ant-Man movie, another Marvel movie. It's the 31st of the Marvel movies. That's insane. But anyway, call me crazy. I actually enjoyed this one.
Really?
I thought it was the most entertaining of the three. It was also the most insane. It was the most wildly designed. It was the most epic of the three. And to its credit, it's totally self-contained, which means you can watch it and enjoy it while not having seen the previous two. So it's fun. The plot's too complicated to encapsulate here. The cast gives it great weight. Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is so likable, and a popcorn movie if there ever was one. And how can you not like a movie whose message is that it's never too late to stop being a dick?
Is that really it? That is hilarious.
That's the message of the movie. That's my takeaway anyway.
I love
word for word.
They should definitely put that in print.
So quick-witted and funny.
I
and
love Paul
the
Rudd.
humor in this particular series of movies, the Ant-Man, he's just, it's irreverent humor, and I love it.
Yeah, and I think this is the best one. I thought it was the most fun of all three. So,
Oh, good. I mean, so let's go over them again. So Ant-Man gets a thumbs up. I don't think you gave any a thumbs down. Of an Age, that's the Australian indie gay relationship drama. The Blue Caftan, who Dora was asking about, that's that one. That's also in theaters.
Right.
Marlowe is the classic kind of old-fashioned detective whodunit with the Liam Neeson. The Integrity of Joseph Chambers. That's the toxic masculinity hunting one. So you have to prepare yourself for that. And then Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which I think I'm going to take. I don't remember how violent it was, Tim. Is it
it's
the swords and stuff, right?
It's stylized violence. So it's not a lot of martial arts fighting.
You make it pretty.
No, I mean, it is kind of pretty, actually. Yeah. That's good description. I wish I had thought to say that.
Well, thumbs up all around. Tim,
all right.
we appreciate you. We will talk to you next time. Thank you, friend. All right, check out Tim.
Okay,
Sika,
ladies, have a good weekend.
Bye.
You're awesome.
Every
Thank
Friday
you.
here on the Nikki Medoro Show, because he is awesome. We do also want to say thank you once again to our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. Give him a call, 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. When he comes on and we talk about tax situations and the kind of help that he can give people, it's important to remember that it's kind of like a boutique where you might not need him for everything or year round or 365, but that he can help you. He has a team of people that work for him that can help you with everything from ERC, tax helps, audits, everything. So give him a call. Tell him the Nikki Medoro Show sent you so he knows. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. I saw in the comments someone was talking about my cauliflower recipe. I did put that on my socials. If you follow me on TikTok, it's my name, Nikki Medoro. You can find me there. There's a whole video on that, but I'll share that as well. It was a big thumbs up for me on the Friday food. El Greco. It's on Winchester. If you're in my neck of the woods, check it out. Let me know. And again, please click the thumbs up button before we end the show. It helps YouTube share the show with other people. The AI works for us. We don't even have to do anything at all. Sorry. What did you just put up, Kim? I'm sorry. Oh, JR. Yeah. Donation for an upcoming Friday food segment. The best barbecue in San Jose. Smoking Pig, Henry's High Life. Ooh, sauced and wagon wheel. Okay, so I have been to the Smoking Pig, Henry's High Life, and sauced wagon wheel. Are you talking about the old wagon wheel in downtown San Jose, like San Pedro Square, or is there a different one? I'll have to Google that. But I'm going to save that comment and we'll see. Best barbecue. I mean, that's just a big old debate. Like, do you like sauce? Do you not like sauce? Do you like it dry? Do you like ribs? Do you like pulled pork? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's definitely. But email me, you guys, just like JR did. And thank you so much, JR, for that $25 donation. Thank you to everybody that's been so generous in our super chat. But again, if you want to be a sponsor on the show, if you want us to try a restaurant or go to a local business, email me, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. It's the same email address you can use to give us PayPal donations. Also, please consider being a monthly Patreon subscriber because that's consistent money that we can count on every month. And so it helps us plan our lives, right, Kim? It helps us plan our lives. So,
and I will say also, if you're interested in being a sponsor of the show or of a newscast, give us a call also at thenikkimedoroshow.com and send us a message, and we'll see what we can put together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to work for you. This is our community. This is our show. So thank you very, very much. And we will talk on Monday. I have no idea what's coming up. I am trying to get somebody to continue the conversation about tackle football. So we'll try to do that, but it'll be awesome. Have a fabulous weekend, all. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.